Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, 7 a.m., January 30th. We're coming into the end of the month, folks, of the new year 2020. And I just wanted to show you guys some of the gains that we've accrued just in the month of January. As you can see, we haven't even got past the first half of the month, or rather the second half of the month. And you can see all these gains that we've amassed and trades that we've shown the community that I was taking, right? So again, folks, though we don't provide financial advice, I can show you guys exactly how I trade for a living, okay? Now, most people use the terminology of, day trading, or I'm a full-time trader and stuff. I actually like to think of it more so as a job, as a skill, right? Something that you have to beat and craft day in and day out. And some days you have good days, some days you have bad days, right? Some days you make really good money in the market, some days you'll lose money in the market. Okay, but the point is that this is, for me, a craft that I do for a living because I enjoy it. I've been doing it for about 11 years. Started off in equities, then focused on commodities. I started off in 2007, actually, and I started off with the stock market right at the beginning of its decline and its crash in 2008 and 9. And then I got better and better, traded commodities, specifically gold and corn, and oil here and there. Then I got into Forex around 2014 and 15. Then I got into crypto in 2016. And this is what I do for a living, folks, right? And I want to show you guys exactly how I make a living off of it. And so these calls right here, these trade setups that I show you guys, are a testament of who I am as a trader, right? So I wanted to show you guys, obviously, anyone can show you gains, right? But I wanted to show you guys a couple of mistakes that we made a few days ago, okay? So here's one of the mistakes that I wanted to show you that I made, all right? This was a pretty big and bad trade, and I'll show you guys exactly where I was in this trade, okay? So it was somewhere around this area right here, all right? And the funny thing is, I had actually considered a long right here, and I was going to target this area right up here around 9,000. I didn't take a long because this green box that you see, right? Notice how it was previously this consolidation before this up move. So I figured that, once we came down to that area, tested it as support, 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 and then we sold off, right? We hit it as resistance once. I figured we'd hit it as resistance again and then come back down again. And that's where I'd get another long opportunity. But what really happened was we busted through it, consolidated, moved up, consolidated, moved up. We just kept moving and moving, right? So the point is that though I was bearish right here and I wanted to short, okay, the point is that one must always know to not let your ego or your bias affect you in the market, okay? And what happened right here was, once I got stopped out, I said, okay, well, this is really, my invalidation in terms of my short. If I'm getting stopped out here with this big candle, I'm flipping long. I mean, there's no other way to look at this, right? So what I said was, okay, it looks like what the price is going to do is it's going to stop out the resting liquidity at all these places where you see the check marks. And this is basically, a stop run on shorts. So we call it short squeeze, right? Short squeeze, short covering. And so what was happening was price just kept riding up and up and up. And all these shorts who had their stops up here, 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 and even here, they got squeezed out of their positions, right? Or possibly liquidated. So for the most part, like I said, flipping my bias here was important, right? And so I wanted to show you sort of a costly mistake. And, I'm not some big whale. This is obviously a decent loss for me, but it's not a sizable loss, right? It's not something that's massive that's going to break my account. But I wanted to show you guys that loss. And then what I wanted to show you is, as you can see, this was, Monday at 7 a.m., right? And then what happened was, after that, I decided to flip long, okay? And that was basically, as you can see, right around, where was it? Where's my entry? Let's see here. Okay, so that was my entry right there, 87.22. Okay, and took some profit right around 89.25 or so. And then by the end of the day, I mean, this was essentially my P&L, right? So even with my half a Bitcoin loss, I gained about 1.5 BTC or 1.6, and I closed the entire day with a positive day. And this isn't to sort of flex or anything. This is just me showing you that though we have losers in our community, right, which most people don't show you, we will have big winners too, okay? And we'll have them much more larger and sizable than our losers. That is one thing that we ultimately focus in this community, is keep your losers small and make sure your winners stretch out and they're big ones, okay? The big winners are the trades that you want to keep up, right? Okay, so now that we have that, okay, so what have we been doing since Monday? So it's now Thursday, right? So let's check it out, okay? Let me go back now to some quick shorts that we had, okay? So just, I think earlier yesterday, we were in this chop right here, basically trading in and out of this chop. I'll show you all real quick. Right here, this area. And so I think we took a trade real quick from here, closed down here, and then we took a long right at the bottom of this area just last night, and we took some profit right around 93.40 or so. Okay, so I'll show you guys first the short, which was entry at 93.65. What we were basically seeing was the price coming down. We had on XO charts, if you're familiar with it, 79 million contracts traded, 17 million negative delta volume right there, as you can see, right? But what was happening was after that, the next candle up had 94 million contracts traded and 21 million positive delta. So we decided to close out our trade based on that information. Again, if you're not familiar with XO charts, this is something that I use from time to time. And I like to show and explain my community how I use them to complement my other trading strategies. So the point is that we basically closed out of that trade, walked away with a small profit, right? As you can see, closed short 93.70, closed out around 93.38 or so, right? So good $35, $30 move that we caught, okay? And then this morning, right, or rather last night, like I said, I entered my position at 92.05. Where was it? This was last night, as you can see. Okay, so you can see right there. I mean, this was basically that big, drop-off candle that we were seeing. And the reason I entered the position is because I knew for the most part that when the price came down to this area, which was the top of this large trading range that you see, right? I wanted to be a buyer here, not a seller and not a shorter. Okay, because this was the previous resistance right there and another resistance, right? So once we broke through that, I mean, it was going to be no surprise that we were going to come try to test that as support. Now, if we broke through it, that's a different story, right? That's why you manage your risk properly, where if you set buys right there, set your stop just a little bit below the trading range, like inside, right? So if I gotten stopped out, it would have been fine, right? But my upside was almost not unlimited, but rather much higher, right? So as you can see, I entered around 92.05 or so, took some profit and half my position around 93.35. So a good $130, $135 move that I caught, right, on my long. And let's see. And then now I'm still holding half my position, right? So this, to me, looks like a bull flag, okay? I don't know how to look at this other than a bull flag because number one, we're sitting on top of previous resistance right there, right? So sitting on it as support, and we're flagging above it. So this is again another positive sign. So I don't see why this thing cannot break up, okay? Now here's where things get interesting, okay? If it does break up, how high is it going to break up? Well, in my opinion, when I start pulling it back out to the daily or the 3-day chart, let me show you guys exactly what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to turn off this volume, all right? Um, these are the couple of markers that I've laid out. If you notice on the right, 94.96 and 96.17. So let's just say $9,500 and $9,600, okay? So if you notice right here, this marker, 9,500, comes from this high right there, all the way in June 2019, right? So notice that that was resistance right there, and then it was support, 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 and then once we finally broke through, we used that same area as resistance, right? And guess where we are right now? We're just under it right there, okay? So if we decide to wick into that area, I would not be surprised if we get pushed back down for another leg down, okay? And if we're doing Elliott waves, right, for all I know, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this could be a 5, or this could be a 5, or we could stretch it out to, you know, like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5 ends up here, okay? The 5, all right, typically is a wave that comes with lesser volume. Typically, the 3 wave is the one that's usually the strongest, okay, with the highest volume, right? So this is why I personally think the wave count is something like this: 1, 2, 3 right there, 4 right there, and I think we're coming up on that 5. But again, the 5 could go here or it could go further, right? I have no idea. But statistically, if I was looking at this chart as a whole for the last year or so, right, I would say, well, you know, this was previous resistance, right? And then support, 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 resistance again. So why can't this be resistance again, right? And then after that, then you get your ABC correction. So if this is the top of the 5th, you get your A right there, your B right there, and your C maybe down here somewhere, okay? Typically, you know, the C, if it's pulling back a decent amount like we're tracing, it'll probably go to about the 618 fib, right? Or the golden pocket. So if we were to do a fib like that, and let's just say 6,400 was the bottom and say 9,600 was the top, the 618 fib right there, the golden pocket, would be in that $7,700 area, which also happens to be, right, if you look at it, the high of this range that we spent 6 weeks under and then broke out, okay? So if prices were to retrace, they come back all the way to the original point where we broke out from, and then maybe get ready for the next leg up. Now, these are just thoughts that I have in my mind. For all I know, we could be in a, you know, heavier impulsive count, and the 5 wave could stretch to 10,000. But see, my job is not to predict how high we can go just based on random numbers. It's to look at previous SR levels, previous areas of resistance and support and volume, and then denote what could, or rather what is statistically higher or possibly higher in the market, right? Or probabilistically, I guess that's a proper word. So in that particular case, I would make the argument that, you know, in this particular area right here, 95, 9600, there's going to be a decent amount of, you know, volume in SR movement, because that was obviously all resistance, support, 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 resistance, and then now coming into that same area as resistance. So why can't this be the top? So the reason I'm mentioning that to you is, like I said, though this 4 hour looks like a bull flag, you know, I would be careful in thinking that this bull flag is going to break straight up to 10,000. It might, right? But it would probably be wise for you to at least take some profit in this area right here. Like I said, $95, $9,600. And if we are to break higher, right, say we're supposed to go to 10,000 or 11,000, I bet you what's going to happen is we're going to break up, right, maybe to 10,000. We're probably going to come back to that same area, which was this SR level, test that support, and then move higher, okay? So either way, you know, I'm not worried about the opportunity of, you know, catching this move and having to catch the bottom here at 9,300 all the way to that 10,000, because I know I'm going to get a retest right at this area. whether it's a day from now or 2 days or a month from now, it usually happens. Okay, that's just typically how markets function. Okay, so don't be scared and think that, oh, I'm going to miss the move from here up to 10,000 or 11,000 or whatever people are saying. But statistically, look at this as a model, in terms of your approach of, well, if this was all, key level, this $9,600 area was a key level of a pivot between support and resistance. Well, we're approaching that same area, so why can't this be another resistance, right? So we're playing this market methodically from level to level. I'm not, simply buying and hodling and thinking that this has to go to 10,000, because I don't know, and neither do you. I just know how to play the market as per technicals. And to be honest, I just know how to make money consistently. And the way I make money consistently is not by trying to guess if the market is going to break up higher. It's rather I trade from level to level, which area has the highest volume, which area do I think that, majority of big professionals are moving in and out of. And obviously, as you can see, there's some heavy resistance right around this area right here too, right around 9,900, 10,000, right? So either way, if we make it up all the way there, we should be coming back around for a retest. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Let's see here. We are using this area right here. All right, and I'm going to show you guys my little nifty trick. Okay, so we're using, if you look at this marker right here, 93.33, that is actually a key SR level. Okay, and I'll tell you guys why. All right, look at the 10, 11 hours that the price spent staying above that area, 93.33. Okay, so once we finally broke through it, right, we went down under, but then the bulls quickly tried to push price above that area. And again, we hit the key resistance around 8,400, 8,450, and then again sold off right under that area. And now the bulls are trying to press up in that area again. So what's really happening is sort of a tightening action like this, I would say, kind of like this, okay? And I think in this particular case, the bulls are really trying to press this thing and keep it above 93.33. So if you are scalping in this particular case, right, if you see a breakdown under 93.33 on a 1 hour close, that is, in my opinion, a short, right? And I would be probably shorting it down here. And if I see prices come down here, right, in this area, I would close out my short and then I would flip long, because there is really, this range that's at play, right? So let me show you guys. This is the real range that's at play, okay? So whether you catch it at the bottom for long and you sell it at the top, and then you open a short at the top and close it at the bottom, that's really it. I would say a more appropriate range is probably this, actually. This is really just the bottom, deviation here, okay? So that's one way you can play it. Again, not financial advice, but that's how I would do it, all right? Now, aside from that, what I see in this movement right here is a 1 hour descending parallel channel. Okay, so if you look at this blue descending channel, right, I mean, we have a bottom, a top, a bottom, a top, okay? And typically what happens is if we're actually going to break out of it, okay, you'll typically have a pull down like this, like we're seeing right now, and then a bust through. Or if it comes back and doesn't go, it'll come back here, go like this, okay, and then break down, okay? That's just, from experience, what I've noticed about parallel channels, okay? But notice that we're actually staying on the upper half, right, which is this white EQ line right here. We're staying on the upper half of this descending parallel channel. So, by the parallel channel standards, I would say this is a positive sign. It looks like it wants to break to the upside. And this is why I'm still long in half my position, okay? I closed out my first half right there, as you can see, around 93.36 from my 92.05 entry. And now I'm waiting to see if we're going to get maybe a fake out. And this is something that's obviously been common in crypto, which is, we get something like this, big wick to the upside, and then we sell off, which I'm totally fine with, because, you know, I would probably close out my long up there, and I'd probably short if I see something like that. And you kind of are able to gauge, you know, who's trying to fake out who based on watching the Excel charts right here in terms of cumulative delta volume, as well as, you know, simply just watching the volume on here, whether it's a 15-minute chart or one hour chart. Okay. So anyway, folks, I do hope you enjoy this content. Like I said, I am positioned long. Staying above this parallel channel is a positive sign. This is undoubtedly, in my opinion, a bull flag. But remember that your ceiling to the upside is limited due to a higher time frame resistance that has been at play since June 2019. So be careful in thinking that if you're going long, you can sell up here in 11,000, because for all you know, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you might be in a bad position where you might get set up for A, B, and a C like correction. Okay. So anyway, I do hope you enjoy my content. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. And like I said, right, we have our 50% off, folks. This is now for, you know, 1 month and 3 month subscriptions, only for first-time members. All right. And that's $50 per month. Okay. So 3 months, it gets you, you know, access all the way to the end of April, actually, if you sign up today. And that's $150. Okay. So I do hope you guys come join. We do tons of Bitcoin analysis, tons of interaction with the community. I mean, you know, the video that you see today and this morning is just 5% of the content, right? We provide updates through the day. I also do evening Zoom sessions. So by the end of the evening time or the nighttime in the US, I let our friends in Asia and Europe and Australia and New Zealand, I let them know exactly what I am thinking is going to happen through the night in the market, what levels to look forward to if you're looking for trades, how I would trade that. And obviously I have explanations of exo charts. We go through, you know, tons of analysis, like I said, right? So anyway, folks, I do hope you enjoy the content. I hope you come join the community with a 50% discount. Shoot me a message when you do come in. There's a Discord link below this YouTube description video, and I'll talk to y'all soon. All right, cheers.